And I leave you again on this note. It's time we do some soul searching and change ourselves. You know the child who revolts against his mother and he upsets his mother and he offends his mother, and then one day the neighbor comes and he swears his mother and uses vulgarity, so the youngster becomes personal. He says, listen, me and my mother might have issues, but you don't dare say that against my mother. And he becomes physical, and the neighborhood gets involved, and the mother, old age, boy, what's happening? No, ma, he's swearing you. Boy, leave him alone. What less have you done to me? Your pain is more. He's not mine. He never claimed I'm his mother. I never said he's my son. You are mine. You're hurting me the most. Why in political terminologies, why is treason considered such a grave offense? You hold my citizenship. You hold my nationality. You carry my document and you stab me. You're the one that says Muhammad is the greatest man, but you suffer the complex in exhibiting his character. That man, that kafir, never claimed Muhammad was the greatest human. I do and I believe and I put my head on the block he was. And I have no doubt Allah will deal with him and his likes personally. Our dua is, may Allah show it to us how it is with them. That is going to happen. فَإِمَّا نُرِيَنَّكَ بَعْضَ الَّذِي نَعِدُهُمْ أَوْ نَتَوَفَّيَنَّكَ فَإِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ الْبَلَاغُ وَعَلَيْنَا الْحِسَابُ. O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether I destroy them in your presence or after your demise, that remains my decision and I will do. You continue what you have to do. Now on a last note, and again I'm saying, we're not saying act emotionally because, you know what, it's a very sensitive time. We've seen the irony. We've seen what's happening in Iraq. Every day 2 bombs are going out, being detonated for the last X amount of months. And the Iraqi intelligence could not apprehend it. But very ironically, they have laid their hands on a prime suspect who had an agenda here. My words. My words. Every day there are bombs. This group blames that group blames this one. Nobody can lay claim. Nobody can pinpoint with precision. Nobody can identify. But they can rise beyond all these bickerings and internal discrepancies and suddenly apprehend, am I so cheap? Can you buy me and sell me with journalism like this? Oh Muslim, regain your identity. If it takes this to unite, I'm saying, you know, there's an incident, time is up here, I'll mention 2 things. Sahaba, what was their love? There was a person by the name of Ka'b bin Ashraf, and it's in Bukhari Sharif, the hadith is very long. He had caused a lot of pain to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He had caused so much grief that it's untold. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, would anyone just give me comfort from the man? Would anybody just give me comfort from the man? So Muhammad ibn Maslama said, oh Nabi of Allah, I can, but I've got to tread very cautiously and I've got to camouflage. I'm going to hate saying this, oh Nabi of Allah, but I need consent from you. The hadith is in Bukhari. Just to get myself in, I'm going to have to, as a pretext, say something unpleasant about you. But wallah, I don't mean it. I just need to get in so that I can do what you want me to do. Imagine the Sahabi, he is seeking consent to do something where he doesn't mean it, to accommodate the joy of Nabi alayhi salam. And there also he says, oh Nabi of Allah, I don't mean it. I'm going to go. But if I go, the man would at face value knock me out. So I'm going to go on with an agenda and say, yeah, Islam is bad, Muhammad is hostile, and Islam has issues. So if you allow me to infiltrate, I'm saying, what was their level of love that they had for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? What did it mean to them? And what is our condition? So let's not react emotionally, because that's playing into their hands. I'm saying this loud and clear. We work within the framework of the legal boundaries. We are vocal and vociferous. We show our dislike. But at the same time, let's take some soul searching. Am I sincere in my cause of Islam? Abu Khaythama could speak to his emotions. And I leave you with this thought in that regard. When Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam, the minister's wife seduced him. And the incident is very famous. And then people started gossiping because she fell in love with her servant, her slave. وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ تُرَاوِدُ فَتَاهَا عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. You know, in simple language I translate, the woman of the locality started making panchat. That's the words of the Quran in the sense, Niswatun, the woman, in the locality they said, hey, you heard? What? Yeah, minister's wife something happening. Went on. Now, with all her evil, but she gives us some insight in how to engage the situation constructively. There was one way to say, oh, you're condemning me. I'll take out an article against you. You are voicing your opinion against me. I will silence you. She didn't do that. She kept quiet. She invited them all. She invited them all one day for a banquet. وَآتَتْ كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُنَّ سِكِّينًا وَقَالَتْ اخْرُجْ عَلَيْهِنْ. She gave every one of them a knife, and then she gave them fruit. And Yusuf, unaware, said, Yusuf, you want to just come out, please? I've got some work. So Yusuf walks out, and when they look at him, they are riveted. They are speechless. They are spellbound. They are consumed. And they cut their hands off. The scholars say she was one smarter. She didn't condemn them. She exposed them to his beauty. Is it not the time that I exposed this cartoonist to who the giant Muhammad was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It's not the time. And I'm not saying don't explore those options. And in my this morning radio program, I paid tribute to the legal fraternity. And again, I salute them and I pay tribute to them for the second time. I honestly believe your endeavor for this interdict in the eyes of Allah, for how close His Nabi is, I'm optimistic it will secure your salvation. To every legal eagle, to every legal mind who put his thoughts behind it and worked relentlessly across the night. And it reminds me again of the incident of Khuzaymah ibn Thabit. I'm going to wrap up. Khuzaymah ibn Thabit, the Prophet ﷺ is walking, he meets a villager, he says, I want to buy this camel from you, this conveyance. He says, that's fine. They settle on an amount. As the Prophet ﷺ starts walking, another person comes and enters into a fresh agreement with him. And he says, no, we can talk a better price. So he gets chatting. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says in objection, but don't we have an agreement in place? I told you X amount, I told you come home, I'll sort you out. He says, no, we have nothing in place. Just then Khuzaymah radiallahu anhu comes in and says, oh Nabi Allah, what's the scuffle and the shuffle and the altercation? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, let me put you into picture. I told this man I want to buy this from him. I gave him an agreement. In principle we agreed, finalized an amount. I was walking home and then he enters into a new agreement. Oh Nabi Allah, I sent testimony. You had entered into that agreement and the first agreement is binding. He cannot make a fresh agreement. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I appreciate your testimony, but the reality is you are not there. Let's call a spade a spade. As much as you support what? He said, O Nabi of Allah, I trust you in the matters of the heavens. How can I doubt you in the matters of the earth? I trust you when you tell me Jibreel told you and I didn't see Jibreel. When this is dealing with ABC, how can I doubt you? Nabi Alayhi Salam was elated. He was overwhelmed. He said, listen my Sahaba, I have elevated the testimony of Khuzaymah to two. In Islam, wherever you are required for two people to testify, one Khuzaymah's testimony will stand for two. He brought so much joy. So I'm optimistic from my Allah, the lawyers, and may Allah take my message to them also. Whoever put their mind to it in whichever way, that shopkeepers that threw that paper out, that vendor who got rid of it, don't think this will go unrewarded. Allah's Nabi is the most beloved to Allah. Qazi Ayaz has written in his Shifa, the soil on which Nabi alayhi salam rests is more sacred to Allah than the Kaaba as well. It's the most sanctified piece of land on planet Earth and in the heavens. So what I'm saying is this woman, she didn't write an article again, she exposed them to the beauty of Yusuf. It's time we exhibit the character of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We go and silence them by the beauty of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's exactly what the Nabi of Allah did. Was it not that he helped that woman with that bag and she saw Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam all the way, and the Prophet of Allah contained himself, and then when he got there and she dropped her parcels off and said, the gentleman, what's your name? He said, Aunt, with respect, I am Muhammad. Are you the very man I've been condemning? Yes, indeed. Okay, well then introduce me to your faith. So stand up with the character of Nabi alayhi salam. We salute all the endeavors in its way, and we call for restraint and diplomacy and wisdom, maturity. Carry yourself with respect. Present yourself with dignity. Do not do anything that will jeopardize the condition of the Muslim, that will contribute negatively to the global image of the Muslims. Understand the implications of your actions, but vocally be vociferous and display his character. Allah has taken care to promote his deen.